I used to run a lot of Introduction to Management courses. And one of the main features of all of those courses was a module on giving good feedback. Because giving good feedback is important for any manager or supervisor. And that is equally true for project managers and project leaders. And of course, there are 3 basic types of feedback. 4 if you start to combine them. There is positive judgmental feedback. There is negative judgmental feedback. There is, of course, balanced judgmental feedback where we mix and match the positive and the negative. And there is non-judgmental feedback. But without a doubt, the one of those which caused the most problems in the classroom environment was the concept of purely positive judgmental feedback. People really struggle with the idea of pure positive feedback. What do you do if someone does something wrong? Do you praise them and tell them that's okay? That's stupid. No, you don't praise someone for getting something wrong. But in this video, I want to explain exactly why I think positive judgmental feedback is a superb way of motivating and developing people. If somebody gets something wrong, do you think they really don't know? If someone does something wrong and they don't know they've done something wrong, then they are not at the level of performance development where positive judgmental feedback is the appropriate dominant feedback tool. We're not talking about situations where people don't understand the mistakes they're making. But for most people, when they get something wrong, they know they've made a mistake. So you giving them critical feedback which says, you did it wrong, you're not actually helping the situation. You're just rubbing salt into the wound. You're building a level of resentment. And you're certainly not going to motivate someone, and telling them that they did something wrong when they know they've done something wrong isn't going to help them to learn either. It serves no purpose. At best, you've just annoyed someone. At worst, you've left them feeling embarrassed and you have knocked their confidence. More to the point, you've taken their focus off of fixing things. You focused them on the problem, not on the solution. Let me tell you a story about Ernest Shackleton. Shackleton took a couple of expeditions down to the South Pole to try to reach the South Pole. He didn't succeed. But unlike the much celebrated Scott who died in the effort, Shackleton made a commitment to his men that they would all get home safely. That was more important to him than reaching the South Pole. That was the kind of leader Shackleton was. This story was related by the surgeon on the ship HMS Endurance, Alexander Macklin. Macklin observed that on the way to the South Atlantic, 2 men managed to get a steel cable tangled into the ship's propeller, something that Macklin described as a very nasty accident. But what impressed Macklin most was that there was no recrimination at all from the leader of the expedition, Shackleton. The thing was done, and the important thing now was to get it undone, to fix the problem. Shackleton knew that his men knew they had let him down. They had let the whole expedition down, and nothing he would say would make that any better or any worse. They knew their mistake. And if, in another incident, Shackleton inadvertently criticised a man for something they had done where he felt the criticism was unwarranted and unhelpful, he would always later go and speak to that individual, one-to-one, to put things right. When we make mistakes, we know we've made a mistake and we feel guilty about it. We don't need our leaders to tell us that we've made a mistake. Indeed, if they don't tell us, we feel that little bit more guilty because we know they know. The other thing I want to say about positive, supportive, judgmental feedback comes from the world of transactional analysis. Transactional analysis is a massive psychology toolset with lots of aspects of it that are very valuable to us as project managers. And for me, one of the things I find very useful is the concept of strokes. The fact that as human beings, we need constant interaction from other human beings. We need people to recognize us. This type of interaction is what Eric Berne described as a stroke. There are positive strokes where we endorse what someone has done and who someone is, and there are negative strokes where we criticize. There are judgmental and non-judgmental strokes. A positive judgmental stroke is "you've done a good job there," whereas a positive non-judgmental stroke would say something like "you're a good person, thank you." Negative judgmental strokes said "you made a mistake there, you shouldn't have done that," whereas negative non-judgmental strokes say something like "you're a bad person." We need strokes. We need constant recognition from the people around us that we exist, that we are present in their environment, and that they acknowledge us. And if an individual grows up in an environment where they do not get enough positive strokes, then they will simply come to crave strokes of any kind, and they will accept negative strokes as endorsement of their presence in society. They will come to crave negative strokes because they know they can't get positive strokes, and therefore they will do things that engender punishment. They will do things that get people to criticize them. And if someone like that ends up in the world of work and continues to make mistakes, they will get the negative strokes they have come to crave. If they do something right and they don't get that negative stroke, then they will feel they're missing something. The only way to fix that is to ensure that you give positive strokes, positive endorsements to people when they do something right. And if you want to move someone from an arena where they constantly make mistakes to an arena where they do things right, one way to do that is to withdraw all negative strokes. That way, the only way they can get a stroke is to do something right and to receive affirmation for it. If someone is performing at a basic, standard, acceptable level, negative feedback does not help. What helps is positive feedback that endorses what they've done well and helps them to identify how they can do more of it. That way people can grow and improve and reach the level of excellence that they're capable of. Please do give a positive endorsement if you've enjoyed this video. I'll be making loads more great project management videos in the near future, so please do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of it. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.